To the business end of the Tertiary Business Science Challenge 2025 version 7.0, and I especially welcome you to the quarterfinal stage. There is a critical stage because from here we are moving to the semifinals. At the end of the round of 16 contest, 12 schools have qualified to the quarterfinal stage. These 12 schools are here to do battle in 6 very interesting contests. The first of which is upon us today. This contest is between the University of Cape Coast and the Wisconsin International University College. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome once again. The program is brought to us by Graphic Business in partnership with the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. Our sponsors, Glyco Life, PwC, Gold Ghana, Papaya Fast Food Services, Zenith University College, EPP Book Services, Ghana National Association of Teachers, Compu Ghana, MTN, and of course, all others who are part of this, including our media partners Daily Graphic and Graphic Online. The program is streaming live on Facebook, Daily Graphic Ghana. You are welcome once again to the quarterfinal stage. The contest before us is a replica of what happened in 2019. Indeed, it is a repeat of the 2019 Tertiary Business Science Final, the first edition. That year, we had great contestants from the 2 universities. For Wisconsin University College, I remember we had the likes of Lariba, we have Nana Sapon, and even Evans. For University of Cape Coast, we had Bernice in the team, we had Judith, we had Gillian, and of course, we also had Shadrach. All of those made history as the first 2 schools who have qualified to the national final. A lot has gone under the bridge following that final in 2019. Both schools have had different, results in the history of the competition after that. This morning, a place at the semi-final is at stake. One of these 2 schools will qualify to the semi-final. Will it be the Wisconsin International University College or will it be the University of Cape Coast? Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I welcome the contestants on stage. Please, let's keep clapping for them. Let's keep as they come on stage. Gentlemen, you are welcome on stage. All right, so we are here to do battle for a place at the semi-final. Are you ready for the task ahead, Wisconsin?
Yes, please.
University of Cape Coast, are you ready for the task ahead?
Yes, Doc.
All right, please introduce yourselves, beginning with UCC.
My name is Macklin Kekeli Kraka, Become Finance Level 400.
My name is Charles William Obeng Mensah, Become Accounting Level 400.
I'm James Dodanyataba, Become Accounting a Finalist.
Yeah, welcome once again, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
What should we expect from you today?
Okay. So today we come with a new energy and we are to give an exceptional performance today.
How differently have you prepared for this contest?
We are fully prepared from our other contests. We've been preparing massively, and then we believe that is going to reflect in today's performance.
All right. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so competing against the University of Cape Coast is a Wisconsin International University College. Please introduce yourself, gentlemen from Wisconsin.
Hi, my name is Israel Dalade Magbemeno, a level 300 BSc accounting student.
Okay.
My name is Ukain Samu Ukainja, a level 300 banking and finance student.
My name is Kofi Nyantichi Onyina, a level 300 accounting student.
Nice. So, gentlemen, what are we expecting from you today?
The battle is still the Lord, so yeah.
How differently have you prepared for this one?
We've actually prepared much better than earlier, so we hope to give our best. And again, the battle is still the Lord's.
We'll see how that one goes. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, they are ready for the battle ahead. I'm ready for the violence ahead. For University of Cape Coast, they have made it to 6 out of 6 semi-final. For Wisconsin International University College, they have been to the semi-final once. They want to make it twice. For University of Cape Coast, they want to make it 7 out of 7. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Al Hassan Yusuf Trauli, and I'll be your moderator for this contest. Of course, I love academic violence. Let's have some violence this morning. So the contest is going to be organized in 6 rounds. Round 1 will test your knowledge on basic principles and concepts in business. Round 2 will involve calculations. Round 3, business case of the day. Round 4 is a graphic business segment. Round 5, true or false. And the 6th round will be on riddles. Please, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to commence this round from Wisconsin. Okay. So, like I indicated, this is round 1. You have the opportunity of answering 6 major questions. For a major question, you have 10 seconds to give me an answer. If it's a bonus, you have 5 seconds. 3 points if you get your major question correct. 1 point if it's a bonus. If you are ready, let's look at the common preamble. Common preamble to all 2 schools. Please take note. Barrier can distort communication and impair decision-making in organizations. Recognizing these barriers is essential for effective management. You have to identify the concept being illustrated and explain its impact on communication or decision-making. Is that clear? So I'm going to read out some scenarios to you. Inherent in those scenarios are some barriers to communication. So you identify the type of barrier and explain its impact on communication or decision making. Is that clear? Okay, so Wisconsin. In a company-wide meeting, the CEO announces a realignment of departments to improve efficiency. Senior managers view it as a positive transformation. However, many junior staff interpret it as a signal of impending layoffs. In a company-wide meeting, the CEO announces a realignment of departments to ensure efficiency. Senior managers view it as a positive transformation. However, many junior staff interpret it as a signal of impending layoffs.
So this is organizational barrier because junior members feel they will not be able to communicate effectively with the senior staffs.
I'm not taking that. I need a specific bonus to the University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so this is the selective barriers. Just like we've noticed, the senior staff are selecting and we are realigning certain departments, signaling layoff to some of the individuals.
Selective perception is correct, or selective barrier. University of Cape Coast. A procurement officer must select a supplier from a list of 50 with little time and too many criteria to consider. He selects the first familiar supplier who meets the minimum requirements without comparing all options. A procurement officer must select a supplier from a list of 50 with little time and too many criteria to consider. He selects the first familiar supplier who meets the minimum requirement without comparing all our options.
Okay, so this is relationship barrier. We can see that the procurement officer has selected someone he's familiar with.
I'm not taking that. Bonus is available to Wisconsin.
Perception. So this is perception barrier. where
That is not correct. It is known as bounded rationality. Bounded rationality. Next set of questions. Common preamble to the two of you. This time you have one attempt only. One attempt only. Please, you get that. One attempt only. Wisconsin. But common preamble. In audit sampling, errors may occur when the auditor's conclusion based on the sample differs from the actual condition of the entire population. Understanding the types of sampling errors is critical for making correct judgments on control effectiveness and the presence of material misstatements. Identify the type of audit sampling error being illustrated and explain its implication for the audit conclusion or audit risk. Identify the type of audit sampling error being illustrated and explain its implication for the audit conclusion or audit risk. Wisconsin, now your question. During a test of controls over purchase order approvals, the auditor uses a sample to evaluate whether the client's control is operating effectively. The test reveals 3 exceptions. Based on this, the auditor concludes that the control is unreliable. However, upon further investigation, it tells us the control was actually functioning as designed, and the exceptions were isolated clerical mistakes. I take it again. During a test of controls over purchase order approvals, the auditor uses a sample to evaluate whether the client's control is operating effectively. The test reveals 3 exceptions. Based on this, the auditor concludes the control is unreliable. However, after further investigations, it turns out the control was actually functioning as designed, and the exceptions were isolated clerical mistakes.
so this is statistical sampling error, whereby they use statistics to determine the or to explain the audit session.
I'm not taking that. Bonus for the University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so yes, this is a type 2 sampling error where the sample was actually, sorry, this is a type 1 sampling error where the sample was actually stated to be wrong, but in actuality was correct.
Please give me one final definite answer. You mentioned 2 things. So
Yes.
give me one final definite answer.
So this is the type 1 sampling error where the sample was actually mistaken to be wrong when indeed it was correct.
Indeed, it is a type 1 error. That's correct. Now, your major question, University of Cape Coast. An audit team from PwC test a payroll authorization control. Out of 50 samples, 2 show missing data timestamps. The auditor concludes the control is ineffective. Subsequent testing by internal audit shows both exceptions were the result of system outages and not due to control failure. I take it again. An audit team tests a payroll authorization control. Out of 50 samples, 2 show missing data timestamps. The auditor concludes the control is ineffective. Subsequent testing by internal audit shows both exceptions were the result of system outages and not due to control failure.
Okay, so this is a type 1 error. So here they rejected the system because of the 2 missing. Meanwhile, the actual error was with the systems.
It is correct. It is correct. Next set of questions, common preamble. In practice, multiple qualitative characteristics of financial reporting may apply to a single situation. However, preparers and users must often prioritize the dominant characteristics that most enhances the usefulness of the information. So for the scenarios I'm going to read out to you, identify two relevant qualitative characteristics from the scenario. Then indicate which one is the most dominant and justify why it is more significant than the alternative. Identify the two relevant qualitative characteristics from the scenario. Then indicate which one is the most dominant one and justify why it is more significant. Beginning with you, Wisconsin. GCB Bank prepares its financial statement using national GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principles, as required by law. However, the presentation differs significantly from IFRS and conceals the full extent of the bank's financial risk exposure. GCB Bank prepares its financial statement using national GAAP as required by law. However, the presentation differs significantly from IFRS and conceals the full extent of the bank's financial risk exposure.
So we have consistency and transparency, and consistency is the dominant principle because they use national GAAP, which is different from the IFRS.
I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Bonus for the University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so we have consistency and comparability. Because of the difference we are seeing over here between the two reporting frameworks. And the dominant one over here is the consistency, which is not making it to be comparable.
I won't accept that either. I'll explain why. Now your major question, University of Cape Coast. To include enhanced graphical illustrations and benchmarking analysis, Glycolife delays releasing its financial statement by an additional month. In the meantime, fuel prices spike and materially affect operations. To include enhanced graphical illustrations and benchmarking analysis, Glycolife delays releasing its financial statement by an additional month. In the meantime, fuel prices spike and materially affect operations.
Okay, so we have timeliness and then we have materiality. Yes, and then over here we can see that, we have timeliness and then we have reliability. So over here we can see that the delay was because it wasn't on time, and then because it wasn't on time, material errors were made, which made the information unreliable. The dominant one is the reliability.
1 out of 3. So let me explain. The first one was to Wisconsin. What I was expecting was comparability and faithful representation. What you mentioned was consistency and transparency. Consistency is not a specific qualitative characteristic. It's a feature of comparability. For something to be comparable, it needs to be consistent. Transparency is not one of it. Perhaps at best, it could relate to maybe faithful representation. Now for UCC, in your bonus, you mentioned consistency and I think comparability. Comparability is fine, but the consistency is a subset of comparability. For a bonus, I wasn't going to give you anything. For the main question you just answered, you mentioned timeliness and reliability. Yes, timeliness is correct. That's the 1 point. The dominant one is actually the timeliness. But it's timeliness and understandability. The first preamble says to include enhanced graphical illustration and benchmarking analysis. Those ones were supposed to enhance the understanding of the financial information. Please, you get it? All right. So that's why I gave you 1, which is for the timeliness you mentioned. Next set of questions, I'm beginning with the University of Cape Coast. UCC, but common preamble to all 2 schools. Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions Framework identifies 6 key factors that influence how societies organize behavior: leadership, authority, decision-making, and interpersonal relations. Understanding these dimensions help explain variations in workplace values and societal norms across countries. Identify the cultural dimension being illustrated in the scenario and explain what a high or low score on that dimension reveals about the society's values or behavior. Identify the cultural dimension being illustrated in the scenario and explain what a high or low score on that dimension reveals about the society's values or behavior. University of Cape Coast. In the Frankfurt branch of a global logistics company, planning and documentation are extensive. Deviations from protocol are discouraged, and employees prefer structured assignments with low ambiguity. Consistency plans are always in place. I take it again. In the Frankfurt branch of a global logistics company, planning and documentation are extensive. Deviations from protocols are discouraged, and employees prefer structured assignments with low ambiguity. Contingency plans are always in place.
So this is uncertainty avoidance. So here you realize that employees want details. They don't want to take risks. They are more or less like risks averse. They fear risks. So here there is actually there's actually a high uncertainty avoidance in this scenario.
That is correct. Wisconsin. In the Jakarta office of a multinational firm, subordinates are careful not to question or contradict senior managers during meetings. Decisions flow top-down, and formal job titles are heavily emphasized. Junior staff wait to be invited before speaking. In the Jakarta office of a multinational firm, subordinates are careful not to question or contradict senior managers during meetings. Decisions flow top-down, and formal job titles are heavily emphasized. Junior staff wait to be invited before speaking.
This is power distance, and it talks about how there's the hierarchy between the junior staffs and the senior staffs. Yeah.
I'm giving you 2 out of 3. So the question was in 2 parts. You have to indicate if it's a high score or low score. 2 out of 3. Next set of questions still beginning with UCC. So for the scenarios that I'm going to read to you, tell me the component of recycling. Not a component of recycling, actually. Let me change the question. Okay. Businesses. Common preamble. Businesses use promotional strategies to influence consumer demand and distribution. 2 main strategies guide how products move through the supply chain and how consumers are targeted, whether they are push strategies or they are pull strategies. So you have 1 attempt only to identify the marketing strategy that has been illustrated in each scenario and explain how it influences market or product demand or distribution. Businesses use various promotional strategies to influence consumer demand and distribution. 2 of such strategies are either pull or push marketing strategies. So for the scenarios, identify the marketing strategy being illustrated and explain how it works to influence product demand or distribution. Beginning from the University of Cape Coast. A beverage company offers retailers volume discounts and display allowances to get more shelf space for its new energy drink. Sales reps visit outlets regularly to persuade them to stock and promote the product before consumer demand is fully established. A beverage company offers retailers volume discounts and display allowances to get more shelf space for its new energy drink. Sales reps visit outlets regularly to persuade them to stock and promote the product before consumer demand is fully established.
Okay, so this strategy is the push strategy. And how it influences it is what we are seeing here. Discounts are given and display allowances are given, all to have the intention of increasing the demand that these distributors make for their products.
Yes. Wisconsin, a furniture manufacturer, attends major trade exhibitions and runs dealer-targeted promotions to encourage bulk orders. The company provides product samples, catalogs, and demonstrations to retailers who then offer them in store. A furniture manufacturer attends major trade exhibitions and runs dealer-targeted promotions to encourage bulk orders. The company provides product samples, catalogs, and demonstrations to retailers who then offer them in store.
So this is the pool strategy, whereby
what?
the pool strategy,
Pool. Okay.
whereby they give out as in
Whereby the person tries to go to the various places like, let's say, programs and then those things, so that he'll be able to acquire the higher persona or individuals. And then also gives out to individuals for testing and this one, creating a large pool of people to come and then buy or purchase his products.
Unfortunately, it's not pull strategy, it's a push strategy. But I cannot give bonus for this one. It's not correct. Now, the last set of questions. Last set of questions. You have to indicate the type of the 3 R's. Okay, in terms of the question is not coming. All right, let's take the last set of questions for this round. Last set of questions. In statistical inference, researchers test assumptions about populations using sample data. These tests rely on structured hypotheses and the possibility of error. Understanding each component of hypothesis testing is crucial for making sound conclusions. Identify the hypothesis testing concept being illustrated in each scenario and explain its role or implication in statistical decision making. Identify the hypothesis testing concept being illustrated in each scenario and explain its role. University of Cape Coast. In a trial testing a new migraine drug, researchers begin by assuming the drug has no different effect than a placebo. Their goal is to gather sufficient evidence to challenge this position using sample results. In a trial testing a new migraine drug, researchers begin by assuming the drug has no different effect than a placebo. Their goal is to gather sufficient evidence to challenge this position using sample results.
Okay, so this kind of hypothesis testing is to challenge the null hypothesis by stating an alternative hypothesis. And its role is to make
You are
sure.
mentioning two things. I ask you to be specific. I can hear you mention null, I can hear you mention alternative or something. So
Yes.
please be specific with what you are saying.
So we are testing the null hypothesis. And the reason for this kind of hypothesis testing is to find evidence to prove that, to determine whether indeed what the null is saying is true or not.
Yes. And now the last set of questions for this one, or last question for this one. CompuGhana tests whether a batch of sensors is malfunctioning. The test fails to detect the fault, and the batch is approved, but several customers later report defects. An electronics firm, CompuGhana, tests whether a batch of sensors is malfunctioning. The test fails to detect the fault, and the batch is approved, but several customers later report defects.
the test is now the research fails to accept the null hypothesis, whereby accepting the alternative one.
I'm not taking that. Bonus is available to University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so this is a type 2 error. Here we can see type 2 error in hypothesis testing. We can see that the test, the null hypothesis was accepted, but then in reality, it wasn't what it was supposed to represent.
Yes, that is correct. On that note, we come to the end of round one. So that is the end of round one, ladies and gentlemen. We have 5 more rounds to go. A place at the semi-final is at stake. The contest is between Wisconsin International University College and the University of Cape Coast. Our sponsors include Glycolife, PwC, Piva Beverages, Gol Ghana, Papaya Fast Foods, Zenith University College, EPP Book Services, Ghana National Association of Teachers, MTN Ghana, Compi Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, GCB Bank is also one of our sponsors. The program is streaming live on Facebook Daily Graphic Ghana. You are reminded to invite your friends to also follow the contest. If our scores are available, okay, so whilst we wait for our scores, how did round one go for you, Wisconsin?
So not as expected. We were able to, we knew some questions, but how to explain it, and also we made some certain points in it, but still the battle is the Lord, so we are in it.
Definitely, the battle is the Lord's. University of Cape Coast, how do you assess the first round?
Thank you, Quizmaster. The first round was a bit dicey. We almost fell into your traps, but we survived. We are hoping to do better in the next rounds.
That's fine. There are 5 more rounds for you to make any headway. So from here, we are going to the second round, which is the calculations. But before then, the scores for round one. At the end of round one, Wisconsin had 2 points, UCC had 16 points. We go straight into round two. It involves calculations. You are free to use your calculators. You have 30 seconds to give an answer. Each of you will attempt 6 major questions. For a major question, you have 2 attempts only. Bonus, you have 1 attempt. 3 points for a major question answered correctly. 1 point for a bonus. Beginning this round from the University of Cape Coast. UCC, are you ready? All right. Let's go to the University of Cape Coast. Compu Ghana entered a contract to supply custom packaging machines to Akosia Nkrumah for 500,000 cedis. Before delivery, Akosia Nkrumah cancels the order. Compu Ghana finds a new buyer, but can only sell the machines for 450,000 cedis. The manufacturing cost incurred was 400,000 cedis. Calculate the damages that Compu Ghana is entitled to claim after mitigation. Compu Ghana entered a contract to supply custom packaging machines to Akosia Nkrumah for 500,000 cedis. Before delivery, Akosia Nkrumah cancels the order. Compu Ghana finds a new buyer but can only sell the machines for 450,000 cedis. The manufacturing cost incurred was 400,000 cedis. Calculate the damages Compu Ghana is entitled to claim after mitigation.
50,000.
Yes, 50,000 is correct. Wisconsin, Lariba Clothing Limited contracted to supply uniforms to Adai College for 20,000 cedis. After breach by the college, Lariba Clothing found a new client who paid 22,000 cedis. The production cost remained 12,000 cedis. How much is Lariba Clothing entitled to in damages? Lariba Clothing contracted to supply uniforms to Adai College for 20,000 cedis. After breach by the college, Lariba Clothing found a new client who paid 22,000 cedis. The production cost remained 12,000 cedis. How much is Lariba Clothing entitled to in damages?
They are not entitled to any damages because they got above the actual cost they wanted to sell to the first buyer.
Yes, that is correct. University of Cape Coast, PwC conduct a global conference for 6 different countries. Each call has 30 participants. The average duration per call is 90 minutes. The cost for each participant per minute is 0.5 cedis, and the translation cost for each country is 2,000 cedis per call. Calculate the total cost of conducting these conference calls, including translation services. PwC conduct a global conference call for 6 different countries. Each call has 30 participants. The average duration per call is 90 minutes, and the cost for each participant per minute is 0.5 cedis, and the translation cost for each country is 2,000 cedis per call. Calculate the total cost of conducting these conference calls, including translation services.
13,350.
No, that is not correct. You have one other chance.
Sixty-eight thousand one hundred.
No, it is not 68,100. Bonus for Wisconsin.
333,000 points.
That is also not correct. It is not correct. I'll give the answer later. Now your major question, Wisconsin. MTN Ghana organizes 4 regional training workshops. Each workshop hosts 40 participants and lasts 6 hours. The cost per participant per hour is 25 cedis. Additionally, the company hires a facilitator for each workshop at a flat fee of 2,000 cedis. Calculate the total cost of all 4 workshops, including facilitator fees. MTN Ghana organizes 4 regional training workshops. Each workshop hosts 40 participants and lasts for 6 hours. The cost per participant per hour is 25 cedis. Additionally, the company hires a facilitator for each workshop at a flat fee of 2,000 cedis. Calculate the total cost of all 4 workshops, including facilitator fee.
Um, 333,333.33.
No, please, it is not correct. You have one other chance.
Zero 0.0835.
Oh, how? It is not correct. Bonus for the University of Cape Coast.
So 26,000.
No, it is 32,000. 32,000. So for the first one, the answer was 20,100. 20,100. Next set of questions, still beginning with the University of Cape Coast. A monopoly firm operates in a market where the inverse demand function is given by P equals 100 minus Q, and its total cost function is TC equal 50 plus 20Q, which includes a fixed cost component. Determine the profit maximizing level of output, the price charged, and the resulting maximum profit earned by the monopolist. A monopolist firm operates in a market where the inverse demand function is given by P equals 100 minus Q, and its total cost function is TC equals 50 plus 20Q, which includes a fixed cost component. Determine the profit maximizing level of output, the price charged, and the resulting maximum profit earned by the monopolist.
We had the quantity to be 80, we have the price to be 20, and then we have the profit to be.
That is not correct. Bonus for Wisconsin.
So we have the price to be 2.63, and we have the quantity to be 80, 97.4.
I'm not accepting that as well. Now your major question, Wisconsin. A monopoly faces a linear inverse demand function given by 120, P equals 120 minus 2Q, and incurs a total cost of TC equals 60 plus 30Q with a fixed cost component. Calculate the profit maximizing output and price and determine the maximum profit earned by the firm. A monopoly faces a linear inverse demand function given by P equals 120 minus 2Q and incurs a total cost of TC equals 60 plus 30Q with a fixed cost component. Calculate the profit maximizing output and price and determine the maximum profit earned by the firm.
So the price is 60. And then the quantity will be and the quantity will be 1,000.
That is not correct. You have one other chance. You even bailed out. University of Cape Coast. Bonus.
Okay, so the maximum output is 22.5, and the price is 75, and the total profit is 2302.5.
Oh, you had one wrong for a bonus I'm not accepting. The profit is wrong, but the quantity and the price were correct. The profit is 952.5. 952.5. So for the one you answered, University of Cape Coast, it was quantity was 40, price was 60, and the profit was 1,550. For the next set of questions, we are beginning with Wisconsin. Wisconsin. A firm, Fannie Limited, is funded 60% by equity and 40% by debt. The risk-free rate is 5%, and the expected market return is 13%. The firm's equity beta is 0.75. The pre-tax cost of debt is 9%, and the corporate tax rate is 30%. Calculate the cost of equity and the WACC, that's the weighted average cost of capital, taking taxes into account. A firm, Fannie Limited, is funded 60% by equity and 40% by debt. The risk-free rate is 5%, and the expected market return is 13%. The firm's equity beta is 0.75. The pre-tax cost of debt is 9%, and the corporate tax rate is 30%. Calculate the cost of equity and the WACC, taking taxes into consideration. Bonus for the University of Cape Coast.
We have the cost of equity as 11%, then we have the WACC as 9.12%.
Yes. Now your major question, University of Cape Coast. EPP Books Limited is financed 90% by equity and 30% by debt. The risk-free rate is 4%, and the expected return on the market is 12%, and the firm's equity beta is 1.1. The pre-tax cost of debt is 8%, and the corporate tax rate is 25%. Calculate EPP's cost of debt and the weighted average cost of capital. The cost of equity, let me put it out. EPP Books Limited is financed 70% by equity and 30% by debt. The risk-free rate is 4%. The expected return on the market is 12%, and the firm's equity beta is 1.1. The pre-tax cost of debt is 8%, and the corporate tax rate is 25%. Calculate the firm's cost of equity and the weighted average cost of capital.
Having 12.12%.
The cost of equity is 12.8%, and then the cost of debt is 10.76%.
The cost of, I didn't ask for cost of debt. I said cost of equity and WACC.
Yes, and the WACC is 12.2%.
Please come again with a definite answer.
The cost of equity is 12.8%, and then the cost of debt is 12.12%.
So
No, he has to.
Yeah, the cost of equity is 12.8%, and then the WACC is 12.12%.
2 out of 3. The WACC is 10.76%. Next set of questions, still with Wisconsin. Wisconsin. The Ghana National Association of Teachers has 180 employees and currently uses 12 managers, with each earning 65,000 cedis annually and supervising 15 employees. Management proposes to increase the span of control to 30 employees per manager, reducing the number of managers. Each redundant manager will receive a severance package of 18,000 cedis, and each remaining manager will undergo a training program costing 5,000 cedis per manager. Calculate the net cost savings in the first year after accounting for both severance and training. I take it again. NAT has 180 employees and currently uses 12 managers, each earning 65,000 cedis annually and supervising 15 employees. Management proposes to increase the span of control to 30 employees per manager, reducing the number of managers. Each redundant manager will receive a severance package of 18,000 cedis, and each remaining manager will undergo a training program costing 5,000 cedis per manager. Calculate the net cost savings in the first year after accounting for both severance and training.
So we had 150,000.
That is not correct. You have one other chance.
30,000.
It is also not correct. Bonus for the investor of Cape Coast.
252,000.
Yes. Now your major question, investor of Cape Coast. Kawa Limited has 210 factory workers managed by 14 supervisors, each overseeing 15 employees. The company is planning to increase the span of control to 30 workers per supervisor, which will reduce the number of supervisors required. Each supervisor earns 55,000 cedis annually, and those made redundant will receive a severance of 12,000 cedis each. Calculate the net cost savings in the first year following the restructuring. Kawa Limited has 210 factory workers managed by 14 supervisors, each overseeing 15 employees. The company is planning to increase the span of control to 30 workers per supervisor, which will reduce the number of supervisors required. Each supervisor earns 55,000 cedis annually, and those made redundant will receive a severance of 12,000 cedis each. All remaining supervisors will undergo a training program costing 4,000 cedis per person. Calculate the net cost savings in the first year following the restructuring.
273,000.
Yes. And now our last set of questions for the round. Last set of questions for the round. Wisconsin. Ama Asari. Ama Asari owns 2 properties in Accra. In 2021, she rented out a 5-bedroom residential house for 4,000 cedis per month and a 3-story commercial office space for 360,000 cedis annually. She incurred 90,000 cedis on repairs and maintenance and paid 30,000 cedis in property rates on the commercial building. Calculate or compute the total rental tax payable for the 2021 year of assessment. I take it again. Amasari owns 2 properties in Accra. In 2021, she rented out a 5-bedroom residential house for 4,000 cedis per month and a 3-story commercial office space for 360,000 cedis annually. She incurred 90,000 cedis on repairs and maintenance and paid 30,000 cedis in property rates on the commercial building. Compute the total rental income tax payable for the 2021 year of assessment.
So we have, I don't get.
We have,
So
okay, bonus for the University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so for the tax payable for the 5-bedroom, we have no tax, and that's for the store. We have 49,500.
That is not correct. That is not correct. Now the last set of questions, no, your last question for the round, University of Cape Coast. Mr. Jesse Blessing rents out a residential compound with 6 bedrooms in Kumasi, each fetching 1,200 cedis per month. He also rents out a warehouse to a logistics company for 200,000 cedis annually. During the year, he spent 50,000 cedis in maintaining the warehouse and paid 10,000 cedis in property rates. Compute his rental income tax liability for 2021. Mr. Jesse Blessing rents out a residential compound with 6 bedrooms in Kumasi, 6 rooms in Kumasi, each fetching 1,200 cedis per month. He also rents out a warehouse to a logistics company for 200,000 cedis annually. During the year, he spent 50,000 cedis on maintaining the warehouse and paid 10,000 cedis in property rates. Compute his rental income tax liability for 2021.
So we have 33,652.
It is not correct. You have one other chance.
So we are having, we have the rental income as, the tax payable as
I need the answer now.
2,880.
That is not correct. Bonus for Wisconsin.
So we have 26,008.
No, it is 27,912. 27,912. So the one for accommodation is taxed at 8%, and the one for corporate, that one is non-residential, is 15%. Of course, for the corporate, they also made some maintenance and then paid some property tax. So you subtract those from it before multiplying by 15%. I hope that is clear. On that note, we come to the end of round 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the first quarterfinal contest. It is between Wisconsin International University College and the University of Cape Coast. They are fighting or battling it out for a place at the semi-final. Only one will progress from this round or from this contest. If our scores are ready, we'll take them for round 2, and then we go straight into round 3, which will be our business case of the day. At the end of round 2, Wisconsin had 3 points, University of Cape Coast had 10 points. We go into round 3, which is a business case of the day. Both schools will be presented with a common problem. They are supposed to work as a team and come up with one solution, which will then be marked out of 10. Please, you may pick up your business case of the day. It is made up of 2 separate questions. Question 1 and 2. Question 1 says, a company is considering replacing an old machine with a new one. The old machine has a remaining useful life of 5 years and can be sold for 2,000 cedis. The new machine costs 12,000 cedis and will last for 5 years. The new machine will save the company 3,000 cedis a year in operating costs. The company's cost of capital is 8%. Calculate the net present value of replacing the old machine with a new one. Determine whether the replacement is financially justified. 2. Further question 2. Kwame Limited is considering replacing its current packaging equipment with a more efficient model. The current equipment can be sold for 4,000 cedis. The new equipment costs 20,000 cedis and will generate annual savings of 25,000 cedis. Of 5,000 cedis for 6 years. At the end of 6 years, the new equipment will have a residual value of 2,000 cedis. The company uses a discount rate of 10%. Calculate the net present value of the replacement decision and state whether it should proceed. Please, you have 10 minutes to provide your solution. You may start work now. Please submit whatever you have done. All right, thank you very much. So we give the two schools a problem relating to them computing whether an organization should go ahead with a decision to replace some asset or equipment or not. And they were supposed to use the principles relating to net present value. That is the question. The questions were in two parts, 1 and then 2. So let's look at what we were expecting them to do. Now, to be able to determine the net present value, you need basically two things. You need the initial investment. You also need the present value of the inflow. So basically the inflow and then the outflows. Now, to get the initial investment, we were given the cost of a new machine, and we're told that there are some proceeds from selling the old machine. So to be able to get the initial investment, you need to strike the difference between the two figures. If you're able to get the net initial investment to be 10,000, you have 1 mark. The next thing to do is to compute the present value using the annuity formula. Once you're able to state that well, the formula, you have another 1 mark. And then you go ahead to compute or insert the figures and get a present value figure of 11,978.13, 1 mark. If you're able to determine the net present value from this point, that is arriving at a figure of 1,978.13, you have another 1 mark. And then finally indicating that the replacement is financially justified or justifiable, that should give you another 1 mark. So that should be 5 marks in all. The second question follows a similar format or structure. First off, you need to be able to look at the value or indicate the formula 1 mark. Also be able to compute the present value of the residual value, because there will be a residual value at the end of the 6th year, another 1 mark. The total present value of the benefit will be that of the present value of the annual savings plus the present value of the residual value. That should give you another 1 mark, giving us 22,903. The net cost here will be 16,000. That is the 20,000 minus the 4,000. If you're able to indicate or show the NPV value to be 6,903, that's correct for 1 mark. And since the NPV is positive, the replacement will be financially viable. That should also be another 1 mark for 10 marks. Now let's look at what the schools did, beginning with the school on my immediate right, Wisconsin International University College. So they started with the NPV by stating the formula. I believe they wanted to state the annuity formula, so I'll give them a mark there. They were able to compute the present value of annuity, which is 11,978.13. I'll give that to them. However, they were not able to find the difference, or they were not able to indicate that you have to use the net initial investment. So they use the total 12,000, which is not correct. And that will affect whatever they did again. So they have 2 out of 5 in the first one. The second one, they stated the formula correct. And in terms of the computation of the present value, they got that one wrong. It wasn't correct this time. So they have no score there. So here they had 1 mark. We add that to the previous 2, and that should give us 3 out of 10. For the University of Cape Coast, for the first one, they stated the formula, and then they were able to compute the figure for the present value, 11,978.13. That is correct. And then they indicated, or they computed the net initial investment, 10,000, that's acceptable, and got an NPV of 1,978.13, which is correct. And then they also give the conclusion that it is justifiable. So for the first one, they got all 5 marks. The second one, they computed the present value of the inflows, 21,776.13, that is correct. And also the residual value, they got that also correct, as well as the present value of all the inflows, 22,905, that's correct. The cost, they computed that correctly as 16,000 and arrived at an NPV of 6,905.25 and concluded that they should proceed with the decision. So for their effort, they get 10 out of 10. So at the end of round 3, Wisconsin International University College had 3 points. University of Cape Coast had 10 points. We are going into round 4. If there are any substitutions you want to make, please go ahead now.
Thank you very much.
Please go ahead with your substitutions now. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So we are going into round 4. Please introduce yourselves. Begin with UCC, those who just joined us.
I am in the person of Alfred Akwada. Level 100.
Level
400.
I had 100, oh.
We go accounting students.
Okay. Now, who do we have from Wisconsin?
My name is Ninola Rufus, a 300 accounting student.
Okay, you are welcome, sir. All right. So we are going into round 4. I'm beginning this round from the Wisconsin International University College. So please, let's get ready. Begin with Wisconsin. Common preamble. Common preamble, please. Midway through 2025, company executives must pause and evaluate their performance. A planned half-year review is essential, particularly in Ghana and West Africa's dynamic markets, for identifying gaps, adjusting plans, and avoiding costly mistakes. That is a preamble. Now, Wisconsin, mention any 3 tools to use in monitoring client acquisition expenses and upcoming trends. Mention any 3 tools to use in monitoring client acquisition expenses and upcoming trends.
So,
Bonus for University of Cape Coast.
okay, so we have Google Analytics, we have Meta Business Systems, and the CRM dashboard.
I won't take that for an answer. That is not correct. Now your major question. Mention any 3 analytic tools to assess impact and optimize strategy. Mention any 3 analytic tools to assess impact and optimize strategy.
We have Google Analytics, Meta Business Systems, and CRM dashboard.
That is correct. So for the first one, we have WhatsApp marketing, influencer collaborations, and TikTok or Instagram shots. That's what I was expecting. Your major question, again, common preamble to the 2 schools. Common preamble. In today's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous business environment, that is VUCA, the role of marketing has never been more vital. For SMEs to scale and compete effectively, they must recognize that marketing is not simply about interacting with customers. It is about systematically identifying and responding to market opportunities. That is a preamble. Now, to both of you, to unlock the potential of marketing, SMEs must adopt a structured and integrated approach. Mention and explain briefly any 3 elements of this holistic marketing strategy, as mentioned in the article in the newspaper. Mention and explain briefly any 3 elements of the holistic marketing strategy, as mentioned in the article. Beginning with Wisconsin.
So we have the strategic positioning or branding. Then we have the integrated communication. So for strategic positioning, you have to position ourselves well in the market, and our branding should be a top-notch branding where it will be visible in the market. And also the integrated communication, we have to make our communication tools effective in terms of how we advertise our product. And also the final one, we have the incentives. Is it? Incentives for formal firms to develop a formal marketing plan.
Incentives? I'll give you 2 out of 3. Now your major question, University of Cape Coast. The misperception of marketing as customer service has policy and institutional implications. Government agencies, development partners, and SME support organizations must recognize the need for marketing capacity building. Mention and explain briefly any 3 areas for marketing capacity building as stated in the article. The misperception of marketing as customer service has policy and institutional implications. Government agencies, development partners, and SME support organizations must recognize the need for marketing and capacity building. Mention and explain briefly any 3 areas for marketing capacity building as stated in the article.
Okay, so the first one we have incentives to these various SMEs. So this basically has to do with giving out these products to these various SMEs in order to adapt or in order to improve upon their businesses. And the second one we have training. So training basically has to do with trying to equip these SMEs or these individuals with the necessary skills and knowledge in order to build on their businesses. And the next one basically has to do with, we have the mentorship. So mentorship basically has to do with giving up streamlined processes to these SMEs in order to adapt to change and also build upon their businesses.
You are correct. Next set of questions. Common preamble to the two of you. Common preamble. 88 professionals have been inducted into the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport with a call on them to uphold the highest ethical standards in order to contribute meaningfully to the progress of the profession and the country. Mention any 3 values that Dr. Ebo Hammond advocated for the new inductees to exhibit. So for each of you, mention any 3 values that Dr. Ebo Hammond advocated for the new inductees to exhibit.
So he mentioned integrity, accountability, and then transparency.
Yes. University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so we have the ethical standards, we have fairness and competition.
Yes. Next set of questions, we are beginning with the University of Cape Coast. University of Cape Coast, we are starting the next set for us. Common preamble to the 2 schools. Common preamble. Linda Dede Nyanya Goji wrote an article on farming undercover, promise, risks of greenhouse technology in Ghana in the July 8th edition of the Graphic Business. Some greenhouse farms have set exemplary standards in safety compliance. The question is for you to identify any one such greenhouse farms, its location, and identify at least one safety compliance standard being implemented. Identify any one such greenhouse farms, its location, and identify one safety compliance standard being implemented. Begin with the University of Cape Coast.
Okay, so we have the agri commercial business service, and with the location, it is actually located at Wenchi, and with the safety compliance standard, it is when they kind of adapt to the PPEs and also the rules and regulations that actually in place of the business.
That is correct. Wisconsin.
The Inland Rice Development Project located in inland valleys across the country, where staff workers are deducted a part of their pay if they don't adhere to greenhouse rules and standards set by the company.
I'm not sure that is correct. I'm not sure that is correct. Yes, so there's no bonus here. All right. Next set of questions. Still begin with the University of Cape Coast. UCC, please mention any 3 awards won by Fidelity Bank Ghana at the International Business Magazine Awards. Mention any 3 awards won by Fidelity Bank at the International Business Magazine Awards.
Okay, so the first one. Okay, so the first one basically has to do with the best bank for SMEs, that is in 2025, and also we have the best ESG bank in the year 2025, and we have the best corporate social responsibility bank in the year 2025.
Yes. Wisconsin, you are to mention any 3 awards won by Fidelity Bank at the Global Banking and Finance Awards. Mention any 3 awards won by Fidelity Bank at the Global Banking and Finance Awards.
So you have the best SMEs, you have the best ESG, and you have the best GSE.
Best what?
GSE.
GSE. Mention the 3 awards again.
We have best SMEs, we have best ESG, and we have best GSC.
2 out of 3. Best CSR is what you were looking for. All right, so for our last set of questions for this round, beginning with UCC. Okay. So Parliament of Ghana has approved a World Bank funding to support the 2025 budget. That's the preamble. University of Cape Coast, when was the first tranche received? How much was received and what percentage of the renegotiated total amount did this tranche constitute? When was the first tranche received? How much was received and what percentage of the renegotiated total amount did this tranche constitute?
So the first tranche was received in October 2024, and the cost was the cost was 475.69 million.
I'm not taking that. Bonus for Wisconsin.
So the first tranche was received in October, and it was $300 million, and the percentage is 352.
I won't accept that. Now your major question, Wisconsin. When is the third tranche expected to be approved? How much is this amount and what percentage of the renegotiated total amount does this tranche constitute? When is the third tranche expected to be approved? How much is this amount and what percentage of the renegotiated total amount does this tranche constitute?
So add 300 plus 360 plus 100. So the next tranche is expected to be received in October and November 2025, and it's $400 million, and the percentage is 43%.
So 2 out of 3. The percentage is wrong, but the others are correct. On that note, we come to the end of round 4. So we have 2 final rounds to go, the true or false and the riddle segment. We'll take our scores for round 4 and then we'll make progress quickly. Our sponsors are still Glyco Life, PwC, Goa Ghana, Papaya Fast Foods, Zenith University College, EPP Books and Services, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Compi Ghana, MTN, as well as GCB Bank. At the end of round 4, the scores. University of Cape Coast had 15 points. Wisconsin University had 9 points. Please show some love to them. We are going to the true or false segment. In this round, I'm going to read out some statement to you. Your duty is to tell me if the statement is true or false. If you get it correct, you have 2 points. If you get it wrong, you suffer a penalty of -1. Each of you will attempt 6 major questions. I'll begin this round from the University of Cape Coast. UCC. University of Cape Coast. A breach of an innominate term always entitles the innocent party to terminate the contract. A breach of an innominate term always entitles the innocent party to terminate the contract.
False.
Yes. Wisconsin. An innocent party who elects to affirm the contract after a repudiatory breach can later change their mind and terminate it. An innocent party who elects to affirm the contract after a repudiatory breach can later change their mind and terminate it.
True.
It is not true. University of Cape Coast. In a culture with high power distance, employees may prefer clearly defined rules and resist decentralized decision-making, even when empowered. In a culture with high power distance, employees may prefer clearly defined rules and resist decentralized decision making, even when empowered.
True.
Yes. Wisconsin. In high uncertainty avoidance cultures, employees may resist flexible work arrangements due to a preference for structure and predictability. In high uncertainty avoidance cultures, employees may resist flexible work engagement or arrangement due to a preference for structure and predictability.
True.
Yes. University of Cape Coast. If two goods are perfect complements, the quantity demanded of one good cannot increase unless the quantity of the other increases proportionally. If two goods are perfect complements, the quantity demanded of one good cannot increase unless the quantity of the other increases proportionally.
True.
Yes. Wisconsin. When the price of a complementary good increases, the demand curve for the related good shifts to the right. When the price of a complementary good increases, the demand curve for the related good shifts to the right.
True.
It is not true. Next set of questions, I'm beginning with you again, Wisconsin. Wisconsin. All provisions are liabilities, but not all liabilities are provisions. All provisions are liabilities, but not all liabilities are provisions.
True.
Yes. UCC. All provisions arise from uncertain future events, but not all uncertain future events give rise to a provision. All provisions arise from uncertain future events, but not all uncertain future events give rise to provisions.
True.
Yes. Wisconsin. Wisconsin. The presence of multiple critical paths in a project increases the project's risk of delay. The presence of multiple critical paths in a project increases the project's risk of delay.
True.
Yes. University of Cape Coast. In critical path method, all activities must have a predecessor except the final activity. In critical path method, all activities must have a predecessor except the final activity.
True.
It is not true. Wisconsin, the last set for this round. An employee with a total cash emolument of 12,000 cedis per month, provided only fuel, will have a taxed benefit of 1,000 cedis per month. An employee with total cash emolument of 12,000 cedis per month, provided only fuel, will have a taxed benefit of 1,000 cedis per month.
False.
Yes. University of Cape Coast. An employee earning 9,000 cedis monthly and provided with a fueled vehicle without a driver will be taxed at 900 cedis. An employee earning 9,000 cedis monthly and provided with a fueled vehicle without a driver will be taxed at 900 cedis on a benefit of 900 cedis. True or false?
False.
It is not false. It is true. On that note, we come to the end of round 5. We have one final round to go. One final round to go. And that will be the riddles segment. Riddles segment. There will be 5 riddles in all. And the riddles will be open to both of you. The first school to ring their bell will be given the opportunity to answer. If you get it correct, depending on the clue at which you answer, you may get 5 points, 4 points, or even 3. If we are ready with the scores for round 5, let's just take them and then we make progress. At the end of round 5, University of Cape Coast had 6 points, Wisconsin University had 6 points. So we are going into the final round. Final round. Are you ready, Wisconsin? University of Cape Coast, are you ready? Riddles. So let's hear the bell from Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Okay. And for the University of Cape Coast? All right. So there are 5 riddles in all. Please, let's go. Riddle number 1. I'm a government appointed officer who plays a central role in the bankruptcy or corporate liquidation process. I'm usually part of the insolvency service or judicial system and act as an officer of the court. In Ghana, I'm appointed by the Registrar of Companies. In appointing me, the registrar shall take into account my professional competence, relevant experience in insolvency provisions or proceedings, and ability to manage the caseload and ensure quality and timely execution. My primary role is to recover and realize the company's assets, such as selling property. University of Cape Coast.
Liquidator.
I'm not sure I want to accept that. I'd continue for the benefit of Wisconsin. My primary role is to recover and realize the company's assets, such as selling property, collecting debt, protecting the estate and distributing funds to clients or creditors, and managing business operations according to the relevant laws.
Auditor General.
It certainly is not Auditor General. It is the official receiver, the receiver, not the liquidator. The receiver is different in some regards to the liquidator. Riddle number 2. I'm a type of account that may be opened by transaction parties. I'm commonly used in real estate transactions, particularly for managing mortgage-related expenses like property tax and homeowners insurance. In real estate, I ensure that the funds are available when needed for those expenses, and it can also protect the buyer's deposit in case the sale falls through. I offer financial security and peace of mind for parties in a transaction. I also minimize the risk of dispute or misunderstandings regarding funds or assets. Wisconsin.
Partnership account.
No, it is not correct. For the benefit of UCC, the last clue. I'm a secure financial arrangement where a neutral third party holds funds or assets. UCC.
Escrow account.
Yes, escrow account. They answered on the last clue 3 points. 3 points. Riddle number 3. I'm a tool used in marketing, communications, and advertising. I may be descriptive, evocative, imperative, superlative, or provocative. I'm often used in advertisement, logos, and marketing materials to help consumers remember the brand and what it stands for. I'm a short, memorable phrase. University of Cape Coast.
The quotient score or the kill score.
No, I won't take that. I won't take that. I'm a short, memorable phrase used by a company or brand to communicate its message, value, or identity. My purpose is to create brand recall, communicate the brand's essence, or promote or promise, differentiate the brand from competitors, or connect emotionally with the audience. Who am I?
A mission statement.
It is not correct. It is known as a tagline. Riddle number 5. Riddle number 5. I'm an exportable item or commodity in Ghana. I'm one of the two main categories of exports. I cover a wide range of goods that are newly developed or have gained prominence in the export market in recent years. I include products such as horticultural products, processed foods, example, cocoa powder, chocolate, handicraft, textiles, garments, etc. I represent a significant part of Ghana's efforts. University of Cape Coast.
Non-traditional goods.
Yes, non-traditional exports. They answered on the fourth clue, 3 points. And now the last riddle for the round or for the contest. Last question. I'm a branch of statistics that makes the use of various analytical tools to draw conclusions. I use probability theory and statistical models to estimate population parameters and test population hypotheses based on sample data. University of Cape Coast.
Inferential statistics.
On the second clue, it is correct. Second clue, so 4 points. That is correct. On that note, we come to the end of the contest. Ladies and gentlemen. It is the first quarter-final contest, 2025 Tertiary Business Science Challenge. It is between the University of Cape Coast and Wisconsin International University College. The next quarter-final contest will be between the Heritage Christian University and the Valley View University. The second quarter-final contest will be between the Heritage Christian University and the Valley View University. Our scores for round 6. Wisconsin had no points. University of Cape Coast had 10 points. So we will take the final result. But before then, Wisconsin, overall, how did the contest go for you?
So we had a deep run, but
You had a
we had a deep run into the competition, but it didn't go as planned. We are grateful for the experience and anything that happened, and glory be to God. We'll come
glory
again.
be to God. University of Cape Coast, how do you assess your performance in this contest?
Thank you, Quizmaster. Our performance honestly was suboptimal, but we are hoping to improve as the contest proceeds. We give grace and thanks to God.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the final results at the end of the contest. At the end of the contest, Wisconsin International University College had 23 points. University of Cape Coast had 67 points. Please show some love. So we have the first school to book their place at the semi-final for the 2025 edition of the Tertiary Business Science Challenge. For the 7th time in a row, ladies and gentlemen, the University of Cape Coast qualifies to the semi-final. Congratulations to you, UCC. Wisconsin International University College, it was a pleasure having you as part of the 2025 edition of the TBSC. It was a great welcome to see you once again. You are all in level 300. I believe you have an opportunity to come back next year. So please go and prepare, and I'll see you in 2026. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first quarterfinal contest has concluded. At the end of that contest, Wisconsin could not match up to what the University of Cape Coast had to offer, and UCC has qualified to the semi-final stage. So on behalf of my sponsors, ICAG, MTN, PwC Gold Ghana, Glyco Life Company Ghana, GCB Bank, Papaya Fast Foods, Zenith University College, EPP Book Services, Ghana National Association of Teachers, our media partners Daily Graphic Online, as well as Graphic Business. On behalf of my technical and production team, Franklin Sowa, Yvonne Ayi, Stella Logosu, George Jansu, David Ebo, NSJC Malik Haruna Imano Amamo, Agnes Adu, Ivan Smita, Alfred Akweje, Felix Tay, David Niama Abubakar, Ivan Stayuba, Samuel Ansa, Emmanuel Adi, and Esther. It's been a pleasure coming your way with this first quarterfinal contest. I'll see you in the next contest between the Heritage Christian University and the Valley View University. Until then, my name is Al Hassan Yusuf Traore, and I love academic violence. I'll see you later. Bye-bye for now. Audience is ready. Studio audience, I must say, are gingered up. Last quarterfinal contest for day one is upon us. To Mudaraba and Musharaka in Islamic finance. I asked you to state and explain. You haven't explained. I want you to explain the points that you have mentioned. Join me as we want to experience some academic violence this afternoon. Team Gamma, 8 members with individual coding speed of 11 tasks per day, operate at 80% efficiency. Determine how many days each team will take to complete the project. Back if you should lose this one. A place at the semi-final is what is at stake. You are tempted to school. Bonus for Central University. On that note, we come to the end of round 4A, ladies and gentlemen. Next set of questions, University of Education, Winneba. The 2024 edition of the Tertiary Business Science Challenge has finally come to an end. How do you assess your own performance? My name is Al Hassan Yusuf Traore, and I welcome you all to join in this violence.